question, so I apologize in advance.
That's all right.
What will you do as president to uphold indigenous sovereignty? Will you recognize treaties? And will you authorize the funding to investigate the disappearances of indigenous women here in the United States?
Thank you for the question. The answer to your first question is yes. I was in New Mexico visiting with members of the Taos Pueblo recently, and learned so much about their history and about our history as a country. We were looking at this gorgeous mountain, the Taos Mountains, which had been part of the Taos people's ancestral homelands for time immemorial, but which this government took away from them, restricted their access to. That was an important part of their religious rites and ceremonies, and was only restored in the 1970s by President Richard Nixon. And so I remember one of the members of the Pueblo said, many of my fellow Americans dislike President Nixon, but he is an absolute hero to us because he restored our sovereignty over these mountains and these homelands. I think there's much more that we can do on that front. Visiting the day school in the Taos Pueblo, I saw computer equipment that was from decades ago, in no way keeping pace with what they're using in Albuquerque and Santa Fe and El Paso and Somersworth, for that matter. They have to go through a bureaucracy in the Bureau of Indian Education, I believe, to be able to make any kind of purchase order, get any kind of help. And those children are receiving substandard equipment, and you might make the extended argument, substandard education. This gets even worse when we talk about the effect to functionally erase culture and language. They're just now reintroducing Taos native language into their curriculum after decades of this country trying to stamp it out. And so there are only a few native speakers within the school system beginning to teach those kids again. I want to make sure that that is funded. They have the resources to be able to do that, to hold on to it before it is too late. And I use Taos to illustrate larger challenges that we have around this country. And then when you make the case about law enforcement and our inability to pursue justice and the perpetrators of crimes and to prevent them from continuing to happen to women throughout this country, then we really have a challenge and also an opportunity to invest more federal law enforcement resources to make sure that we coordinate with law enforcement on reservations in these pueblos to make sure that the perpetrators are caught and that these crimes are prevented from happening again. Lastly, would be very happy to work with you, learn from you, be guided by you if you're willing to work with us. I'll make sure that Cynthia or someone from my team gets your contact information so that I can understand more fully the story and the opportunities. So thank you. Thanks for being here.